Are you ready to change your habits, sculpt your destiny, and light up your path to greatness? Welcome to the epicenter of transformation. This is Mick Unplugged. We'll help you identify your because, so you can create a routine that's not just productive, but powerful. You'll embrace the art of evolution, adapt strategies to stay ahead of the game, and take a step toward the extraordinary. So let's unleash your potential. Now, here's Mick.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Mick Unplugged, where we go beyond the why to discover your real because. And today we have a very special guest who's dedicated his life to the pursuit of happiness, helping others find their inner peace. He's a renowned coach, writer, and motivational speaker, known for his unique approach to unlocking human potential. It is truly an honor for me to welcome a happiness warrior, my happiness warrior, Mr. Eric North, to the show. Eric, welcome on board, my brother.
I can barely contain myself. You're so it's so awesome just hearing your words and how meaningful they are to me. I don't hear words like that all the time, so I'm really appreciative because I don't always listen to people who want to compliment me, which is something I need to work on still. There's things we all need to work on. So thank you so much. I'm honored. I am very honored to be here today.
No, I am definitely the honored one, and the audience that's listening and those that are watching, you're going to understand why I call Eric my happiness warrior. So many nuggets he's about to give us. We haven't even prepped for this call. No. And I can promise you're going to get nuggets in. And there's some things that I'm going to want you to do throughout this podcast episode today for all the listeners. There's going to be a lot that I'm going to want you to write down. Eric, I would love just for the audience to know a little bit about who you are and what experiences in your early life inspired you to become a happiness coach and a motivational speaker, because motivational speakers we hear about, right? But a happiness coach, that's something that's unique and something that only Eric North can bring. I'd love to hear that story.
I think a lot of things in our lives are passed through genetics, and I think that a lot of our traits can come through. Some things we can fix and change, but some things are just, we can't help it. And I was a kid. I was a young kid, and I was very aware of the world around me. I remember things from when I was 1 year old. I can remember watching the Andy Griffith show at a hotel room. I knew I was one. So I remember things, and I started being really aware of people's behavior. And I was too smart for most people. I was too smart at a young age, and I was always kind of perplexing people and getting kind of odd because I was too smart. Then when I went to school, I was in second grade. I was reading with the sixth graders, and I was in math. They were trying to send me to math even high. I was driven to learn and just get the most out of life at a young age. Mm-hmm. I was also probably a little weird, and I was shy. I was very shy, and I stuttered, which was terrible. My father made me feel very ashamed of it. So that was kind of a source of trouble. I look at it now and I think, I'm glad I went through all that. I'm kind of glad a lot of it taught me about being more respectful of others and realizing that we're not walking in someone else's shoes, and we need to really think about how other people, we don't know what's going on. So a lot of good things came of that too. But my father would always put me in get out of the way or in someone's way. I always felt like I was in the way, and he was embarrassed about me. And we had a good relationship basically though too. So it wasn't all bad. Mm-hmm. But there was just, parents think that they're doing the right thing, and sometimes they're causing more harm, So, and I think that's just part of life. That's just what we have to just be, accept that they're doing their best. But I have these three aunts, and they were my dad's sisters of varying ages. And I have one left, and she is one of the most, she's like my female version of me. And it's like when we're together, it's like we're twins. And she's 20 years older, but it's like we're on the same path, the same humor, the same kindness. And I just spent some time with her because it's important to spend time with people that are getting older in your life. And I went to a restaurant in New York, and she had the entire male staff of this restaurant coming to her every minute. Princessa, can I get for you? And she had the whole restaurant just in her sphere, and everyone was happy. And I have another aunt, she's passed away, and she was courageous and very glamorous, very striking, and very, 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 very intelligent. And she was an advocate for conditions in mental hospitals in a time when no one really cares. voice. And I can't go out in public to go out shopping or somewhere in my area that I live in without a lot of people wanting to stop and tell me what's going on with their life. And they're excited to see me, and they, oh, I'm doing all this since last time I saw you, and I'm so happy. And so it can take a while with me to get somewhere. Okay. So, and that's how she was too. So I have, and my other aunt was an educator, a serious educator, and she was like my cheerleader. She was the youngest one and very super. She was right there with me when I was young, when we were doing IQ tests and things. And I always felt like I was a weird kid. Maybe I was a little out of place, but I always felt like the power of their belief in me made me always feel like I had an amazing future because they were so cool, and so they kind of kept me going mentally. My mom was cool, but I was kind of still I was not the kid that they wanted, sort of, I wasn't like the football playing. I like sports and being out. I was always outdoors, but I wasn't like I wasn't a good Boy Scout. I wasn't good in that type of situation. Okay, so I didn't like I'm not really good with authority figures if I don't respect them. Okay, if they're respectable, I'm honored. I'm honored to respect somebody. But like I said, I can see things at a younger age than most people are aware of, and that was where I got my kind of like, I have a big thing about something about if I find someone that is like, especially another man or woman that has a strong, honest integrity, and sort of stands up for things, then I'm going to feel aligned.
Yeah.
And they're generally going to be people that are happier. They're going to be people that are easy to laugh, and they let people in.
Yeah.
So that's what you look for. I go in the room at a new place, just like going to a new podcast, and I expect that I'm going to meet friends right away.
And look at us.
Yeah.
Look at us.
I've never had that. I always go out, I go, I like everyone. And then how does that feel when you say that? How does that change your whole dynamic in your day-to-day life?
Right.
And there are people, man, they are hard. They make it hard sometimes, but you have to just say, I don't know what they're going through. I don't know what they've been through. So I'm really learning that lesson a lot as I mature. I think that's really important, is to really be respectful of what people want to tell you.
Yeah, that's
mind
amazing.
Your own business. I still think mind your own business is the greatest phrase. I think it's important, and
mind your own business, right? Stay focused on you.
Focus on being your best example, being your hero. We got to be our own hero, right, Mick? We have to be our own heroes for ourselves because everyone counts on us.
That's correct. You can't be a hero for someone else until you become a hero for yourself. And I learned that from Eric.
Well, I just think it's really important. I think it's really important that we don't have to have the moment. We don't have to have a lot of self-congratulation. Okay, we don't have to have a lot of that. But I think we need to be able to realize our innate powers and be able to vocalize them and actually use them and feel them. So if I have a warrior-like mentality, a lot of people have a warrior-like mentality. I'm not the only one. And it's about using that for good. So using that I care about everyone. I care about my own needs and my family, but I also care about the impact we have on everyone else and equity or fairness and everything else.
No, absolutely. We've talked a little bit offline, and you talked about your personal journey and some of the challenges that you faced. Can you share a specific moment where you had to dig deep to find happiness and how that influenced your future work?
I always had a lot of friends, and I was kind of was part of the fun crowd and everything. And then I got to a point where I met someone who was kind of dangerous and ended up being someone very dangerous for me. And we were together for a long time. We had a really two dysfunctional rock star couple together kind of times. Okay. We had a lot of stuff that was cool and a lot of stuff that was like really like, and it was very abusive. I'm not on my part. It was a very abusive relationship towards me. And I'm not, and I've never had I've done partying, drinking and things, but I was never like part of that. It was never something that had me locked down. And we just got into a place where I was concerned for my life. When you're with someone who's abusive, they usually try to control everything in your life. So they try to get rid of your family, get rid of your friends, get rid of your job, anything that distracts you from being kept in line by them. So you become isolated. And I was extremely isolated, and there was an incident where all I could do was call my mom, and I hadn't talked to her in 6 months. And guess what? She came right to the rescue, and I was able to take that moment and go, I'm not turning around. I'm not turning around. I'm not looking back, going forward now. I'm done. I had like $50.
Wow.
You know, and I had lost through a lot of reasons. I lost a really good corporate job. You know, I was like 30, I was like 31, 32, and I lost it really. And I had just, that career just kind of sputtered, and it was just good too, because that's not what I wanted to do with my life anyway. So I think about all these things is anything that brings you into a place where there's a reckoning, you know, and you really have to think about, I don't know if there's some way out of this, you know, like, and if you're thinking that, there always is a way out of it. Okay. And a lot of people think they have no choice, and it leads to self-harm and leads to other things that are bad, like poor nutrition, you know, sleep or anything, and just gotta let it go. You know, you gotta think, you gotta let it go. It's hard, because I was angry for a long time after we split up. I think you go through a phase of, I was angry at myself. I was angry. I was not a victim, but I was kind of damaged emotionally, because I wasn't able to trust anyone for a long time after that. And so I put myself into work. You know, work for me is a solace to going to another place, a better place. So I put myself to work, and I liked working. I found I could start working for myself, and then I got into real estate, and it was an ideal career for me for about 10 years. And during that 10 years, though, I started doing testosterone replacement therapy with a clinic in Florida around 2011 or so, and 2010. And I was at 43, and I was 42, and I was going from super high achiever, full of energy every day. So my energy levels were down. I was not feeling myself, and I was actually feeling sometimes coming home from a really great day at real estate, and then I didn't feel like going to the gym. I didn't feel like having sex. I didn't feel like, things were just kind of going to like kind of not a happy place. And I got on this therapy, and it just changed my their clinic I went to was from Florida, and I think Florida, everything there was kind of chaotic anyway, but they were wonderful people. And I learned about my own health from them. I learned about how what these blood work numbers meant and things like that. So I was able to start learning how to take control of my health, you know, and doing it in a way that was safely done, and nothing crazy. It was just therapy. And I always seem to people, I think I'm a trustworthy person. I think people tend to come to me with ideas, or they want to help them, or sure. And the owner of the clinic had heard about me from people from his employees, and he was like, I'm really excited to meet this guy. Maybe he wants to go into business with me. So I went down to Florida, and I met him, and and we didn't end up going to business, but he helped me get started. And I spent like 2 weeks in his business every day with different people in the office. And then I was like, I don't want to do any of this in my own place. If I open up my own place, we're going to do things a lot differently. And, but I'm learning how I want, at least I'm learning the approach. I'm learning the nuts and bolts. So then I started that, and that was the beginning of like working for myself, which is I just had a picture the other day. I just came up in Facebook. It was like me in like a sleeveless shirt, and I'm 40 something, so I'm pretty jacked up. And I used to do men's physique competitions, so it's pretty like I looked like an owner of a TRT clinic. And there's a picture of me doing drywall, because I'm in the beginning of the business. I invested all of my money. I went into my 401k to start it. I mean, I was going to be broke, or I was going to make it.
And you wore all the hats in the business, right?
When I started a business that was at the time not mainstream, there was a lot of negativity. There was a lot of misinformation, facts that were not correct about it. And in this time period now, I have the enjoyment that when people call me, how soon can I make an appointment? And back in the day, I had to do everything. I was cleaning the bathroom, taking the trash out, doing everything, and all aspects, and working on weekends too. Going to trade shows and going places to get my name out. And that was a time when I had to let all that other stuff in the past go, and I had to start learning how to be in control of my life, and there were times when it was really hard, and there were times when I wasn't sure about the mortgage. Almost 12 years later now, I have a business that has helped me launch other businesses now, and given me the opportunity to create really great jobs for people that they work for me.
Love it. Let's talk about the happiness warrior.
Yes,
right?
and then we go into the happiness warrior. It's all that entrepreneur stuff, but that's where I got to the point where I got kind of bored with business. Okay, because I thought, I wouldn't say I never get bored, but I say I got the point where I was like, I need to do something more. I need to do more. And I sort of fooled around in the modeling business for a while. That was kind of fun. I got to meet a lot of people. And then the happiness warrior, once my publicist told me that I was a happiness warrior, I just took that right on and put it laid on like a suit. I thought this would give me a really, really powerful motivation to be my best every day. Okay. Never let anyone down, never let myself down. Always being adaptable, always being ready for change. I developed my core values and I use those a lot. And I have to take care of them. It was going into COVID time and everybody was health-wise. And I said, I need to help people. And so I started doing I did a lot of videos online that, they'd just be like, this is how we just take it down a notch here and start feeling better about ourselves first. Right. And we can get out in the world again and get our mask off, Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was a tough time to help people get through as well. And that was a time that I felt like I could do a lot of good. Like when COVID started, and this is terrible. I was thinking I'm training for something. I've been doing all these things to get all my skills and all my powers honed. And when it came, I said, "Oh my God, I got to close my business. I got to do all this stuff." And I thought, this is what I'm ready for now. I'm ready to be a leader now. I'm ready to make sure this is in my world. This is going to be handled as well as I can. And get through this to wherever the other side is. I think the other side now is awesome. I think where we are right now, despite some political stuff, I think where we are right now is as a world, we have a lot of potential now to change.
There we go. So in the book, The Happiness Warrior, what are 3 things that people should go dive into the book that they're going to get out of it that they can implement like right now?
First thing is that they have a right to be happy and they need to give themselves permission to be happy. And we need to make, I think really, really, really important is to make the mind-body connection that we're spirit, like we're everything in our bodies and our mind, and we eat, what we think, what we speak, it affects who we are. It affects our health. It affects our outcome. So, making that just adjustment to loving yourself as much as possible, and that includes loving yourself in spirit and soul and body and mind. And I think it's very important. And people don't realize that they deserve much more in their lives. Yeah. I think that's what I really try to think about is that act of just starting something that you're dreaming about doing can lead to something that's more amazing than you ever thought of. Right.
I totally agree.
Yeah, so I try to always be positive spin without calling myself a positive person. I don't want to have that kind of level, but I like to steer the ship.
Yeah.
My direction where I steer is towards everyone is happy with themselves, content with themselves, and at peace with everyone around them. Tough. That is a mighty goal, but I think it's possible.
Oh, wholeheartedly. And I told the audience and the listeners when we started that there's some things that I want them to write down, and these things were impactful for me.
Okay.
Eric, one of the things that you released is titled The Only 5 Things That Matters. And I have to be very honest and transparent. It is probably the best article or blog that I have read in 2024.
Wow, thank you.
Because it is so impactful. Like, I love things that are action, and that's what this podcast is about, right? Like, we want to give the listeners, the viewers, things that they can start implementing in their life today, right? Like, you don't need to go hire anyone. These are insights that you can start putting into your life.
Everyone is capable. The answers we're looking for are always within.
Absolutely.
You know that. This is your story is so inspirational too, because you were able to dig past whatever was going on and say, I deserve to live and be better and make my life the way I want it to be.
Right. And I had to go.
When we're younger, we get put into boxes and places, and we don't necessarily get a chance to make what we want to do of ourselves, and then when you get older, the blessing is that we really have that wisdom.
Yeah. Wholeheartedly. So I want to go into, again, for those, and we'll have the link to this article in the show notes, but it's on the metropolitandigital.com. And with Eric, it's the 5 things that matter. And what he's talking about here, the 5 things that truly matter to have a happy life and to impart happiness in your life? And so, Eric, we're going to go through these together. So I'm going to highlight what the first one is, and I want you to kind of tell us what you meant by that. So number one, and everyone write this down, express gratitude before rest at night. I'm going to say that again. Express gratitude before rest at night. Eric, why is that important? And I'm going to tell you, it totally changed my life. I had the best sleep the first night that I implemented this. I slept like a baby for the first time since being a baby.
It started for my need to get better sleep. And then I was with my sister one day, and she has a pretty high stressful, she's an entrepreneur too. And we don't have time to talk half the time. When we do have something to say, it was very insightful. And she says, when I go to bed at night, I know that I've done my best, and I go to sleep right away. And I said, well, so it wasn't what I was expecting. That wasn't what I was expecting her to say. It touched me because I was like, that's kind of what I needed to hear myself. So nothing I'm doing is new. I'm just passing information that I'm processing information and sharing it. And I think it's important. But that was very important. So then I started this practice of, I grew up, prayer before bed and things like that. And it wasn't my thing, but I did it because it was the right thing to do at the time. And I still think there's something very valuable in kind of recounting your day. And that's the first thing I say in my prayer or whatever it is, and my affirmation is, I did my best today. I will do better tomorrow. Because what's the point? If you don't want to do better tomorrow, what's the point? What's the point? I think, I did this really cool today. Maybe I can. Maybe if you're like shooting baskets, okay, and you're getting them all in, keep doing it better. Anything like that. It's something that creates a higher level of self-esteem, skill, affirmation, anything like that. And so that I can do better tomorrow is always exciting to me.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Totally agree.
And then I might go through a little bit, and then it depends on how tired I am. I'm usually ready for bed. And
there you go.
I'll talk about this, and I'll just say, I am grateful, I am thankful, I am content, I am happy. You can go amen, or you can go nothing. You can do whatever you want. There's no rules. Okay, it's whatever strikes us as individuals is important. But I think that I did my best today. I can do that. I will do better tomorrow. I think that's crucial.
It is. And I'll tell you again, once I read this and then I saw a few of your videos that were kind of talking about this as well. You actually have to believe it too, right?
Oh,
it's to express the gratitude.
Yeah.
But don't say things just to say things. Like, have conviction around that gratitude. And like I said, Eric, I owe you, because now it is a part of my nightly routine. It really is.
I'll tell you an embarrassing tidbit real quick I went to my high school reunion last year, and I was one of those kids. I was a good kid. And the adults that came, the older adults that came to my reunion, they were the core group of friends that I had back then. There was like the cheerleaders and the class president, and all the good kids that participated. And they were good kids. They're all grown up now. And one of them, she said to me, she says, I remember you as being very earnest. And I thought, well, that's probably, at that age, at a young age, I would have been embarrassed by that. And then at this age, I'm just like, oh, that's so awesome to hear that, because I've never changed.
Yeah.
And I was honest. I mean, I wasn't earnest. That's embarrassing. I said, you should get to know me better now, because now I'm a whole nother world going on. So that's how I feel. And I know you're on your questions, but in the morning, what's the first thing we should do as we wake up?
Be thankful that we saw this day.
Right. But I always say, and I did this, I've done this. I used to have another Instagram called Redefining 50 when I was turning 50. And a lot of people followed that. And some people were like, I give my employees this because I want them to listen to what you're saying, because it's motivational. And I started this thing, and I picked it up somewhere. As soon as I wake up, I don't care where I am or what I'm doing, I say, good morning, Eric. It's going to be a great day. That's all I have to say.
I like it. And you believe it.
One time it was during COVID, and I skipped it. And I was traveling to Arizona, and I was at the airport, and everything was going wrong. And it was just a big mess. And usually I have a really happy journey. Usually when I go anywhere, I'm happy. Everything's wonderful. Nothing gets in my way. Everything's fun. And this morning, everything was kind of like dark. And then I was going up into the elevator to the coffee in the place that was closed. I said to myself, oh my God, I didn't say that. I didn't give my affirmation this morning. That's the reason everything is terrible. Okay. Dramatic. And then I did it. And I was by myself in this mirrored elevator. And I'm looking at myself and I'm like, hey, Eric, it's going to be a great day. After that, everything went really well. So it's just voodoo. It's whatever you want to call it. But I think it's the mindset.
There you go.
Mindset. It's a mindset. And people would tell me it's so a 3-year-old can do this as well as a 60, 70-year-old. It can be any age, but I have a lot of really high level people that do amazing things that have told me, and you would think, oh, they're just too jaded to do anything like that, right? Well, they do it, and then I hear, oh, you wouldn't believe how awesome my life has been. Yeah, I do believe it because I believe in it, but I love hearing that because I think, okay, they might, even if they forget about me, they're still going to spread that. They're still going to share that with others. And that's going to help more people. So
that's really good stuff. Really good stuff.
I go rambling off, but I think those are important things to get to know what my real intention is.
Of course. And that's why we're doing this. This is your show. This is what it's about. All right. So let's go through the other 4. So we have the first one.
I won't digress. I'll keep going.
No. You're good. You're good. So number 1 was express gratitude before rest at night. Number 2, and this one is deep. Always express desires and intentions verbally with someone you trust.
Yes.
What's the meaning behind that one?
Do we want our life to happen or do we not want it to happen? If we want it to happen, we have to be proud of it. We have to be proud of our decisions and our choices, and we have to own it. We have to own it. And by owning it, I mean, I don't want to have like this idea of accountability. I mean, this is now something that belongs to us. These are our dreams. These are our destiny. So sharing that with someone that you trust, I can't. I didn't just become the happiness warrior all by myself. There's so many people that I've sort of come along with me in my journey over the years that would do anything for me. And they're and I'm not, it's another thing that I don't deserve that, but I think if I have to make it honorable, I want to make sure I give value,
Mm-hmm.
So it's just balance. It's balance.
I love it. All right. Number 3, be always at work on something that provides value.
Yes.
Love it. To me, that's one of the best nuggets of wisdom that I've heard in a while. Always be working on something that provides value.
There is always something that we can be doing to improve our mindset, make ourselves happier, take our mind off something that's negative and turn it around. And I think that it really comes down to, what am I doing with my time right now? I mean, we need to take time off. I'm a big believer in time off, and I'm a big believer in being outside and tuning out of our phones and everything. But I think that having something that gives us pleasure too, and something that makes us feel like we're part of something, that we're creating something, and there's so many things. There's no definition of what that is. It's just the definition that we find within ourselves. And for me, it's coming from my aunts. It's that I'm the happiness warrior. They're happiness warriors. It's just, maybe I'm the one in the family who's carrying that along, but that's right now in my time in life, right at the present, that's who I am.
Love it.
You can call me the happiness warrior instead of my name. I don't care. No, I'm just kidding.
That is it. All right. Number four is absolutely my favorite. And it's something that I work on a couple of times a year. Number 4, nurture key relationships and let others go. And so I say this a little bit differently. I say always work on your circle of friends,
like that.
right? But nurture key relationships. And most important, you got to be able and willing to let others go. So powerful, because when you talk about happiness, and Eric, I say this a lot, everyone that you think is for you isn't always for you.
Yes.
Right. When you talk about happiness, there are some people in this world whose main objective is to bring up all the obstacles in life. There are people in this world who are just negative by nature. And the more that you have, and you have this in the blog, the negative vocabulary around you, the negative mindsets around you, it starts to penetrate into you, whether you want it to or not. And so I love number 4, nurture key relationships. Most importantly, let others go. So Eric, I love your 2-minute take on it.
I have such a place in my life for friendship. It's a very important part of who I am. And it's not about I have friends everywhere, but I mean, it's those friends that I've had for maybe a short time that have become very important, but a lot of it with me are long-term, deep friendships that we don't see each other all the time. But I call those my friends for life. And I always tell them, you're my friend for life. You're my friend for life no matter what. And if you're my one best friends halfway across the world for 5 years, but we're still walking the door, we're best friends again. You know what I mean? There's not going to be, I'm still solid with that friendship. And there are I've also found that there are, like you just said, there are people who hurt other people. They hurt other people. So you got to think about, and anyone who's gone through a rebuild in their life or a renewal in their life knows that we have to, if we want to get out of our funk or our trauma, we have to be around. We have to say no to negative people. We have to say no to people that are gossiping or saying things about people or anything that. We have to be around positive people that are happy, and they're there. You can find them. They're always there.
And that's the key. Go to those places, because if there's situations, if there's places that always bring negativity to you, stop going there.
Yeah.
Right. It is totally okay to be in control of your surroundings and your situations as adults. It is totally okay to stop negativity from creeping in. I felt
the same way with business too. I think it overlays everything in our lives. And I think it's important with family. I think no one can hurt you more than family. Mm-hmm. No one can hurt us more than our family members. I think they can dig deep. But it's important to be forgiving too. I mean, I think in realizing that there are people, you might be angry at them, but I think it's important to realize that you don't get a lot of second chances in life, right?
Mm-hmm. So, that's right.
Some things are very finite, and once you cross that line, you're done. And that's why I'm really big on the words have spirit. Words have spirit because words never go away. And so, and words are beautiful. I find so much pleasure in writing words, and my thoughts come out of my head so fast when I'm creating a new column. I'm not even sure who actually writes it. It just comes out of my head, comes out of my hand on the keyboard. And I look at that as a gift. It's a gift, not that I have, it's a gift that's been given to me. I feel like if I don't use it, I will lose it. But I'm using it because I find that it really helps me to have more clarity and maintain more clarity and identify what people need to hear. So I go through phases where I'm thinking a lot about almost everything is self-empowerment. I want people to feel self-empowered.
Absolutely.
And I want people to feel they have everything that I have. Okay. I don't want to be, I want to always have that kind of idea that no one's better than anyone else. I don't think that's ever true. Mm-hmm. Be kind. Be kind. Not nice is fine, but kind is actually taking that time, that feeling that you do care about someone else, and we do care about other people, and that can change someone's entire life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally. All right. Number 5.
Okay. We get there. Dang
it, Eric. You wrote number 5 for me. Take care of your bodies and minds as if your life depends on it, because honestly, it does. So I made 2024 my year to get back into better shape. I don't make excuses, so I'll just say I took advantage of COVID. How about that? I took advantage.
I have some really, I don't have a diet for you or a plan for you, but I have a couple of really good tips for almost anyone. Okay.
All right, let's get these tips now. We need them.
Starts with I'm going to do the first book will be a reference book kind of thing, but my books in the future will be Happiness Warrior's Guide to Love, the Happiness Warrior's Guide to Your Body. Okay, and not science so much. Well, science it's solid, factual stuff, but I'm coming to as a regular person trying to help someone else, on their journey without feeling bad about them. And my biggest thing is I don't want anyone to ever feel bad about themselves. Okay. You can't start anything good if you're feeling like you're already fighting yourself and you're defensive. So I want everybody to feel like happy playing field where it's just about learning about themselves. So for food, and I think everything we eat has a purpose. So today I want to have a really good brain for you. I want my brain to be on fire, not on caffeine. So I had some canned salmon. I made some brain food and I just had something light that kept me some good protein, good energy, a little whole wheat bread. And that to me was perfect because I had the protein, but I wasn't feeling heavy from a hamburger or something like that. I'm so limited. I'm subconsciously feeding my brain. I'm feeding my brain mostly. I want to stay sharp and focus. And then one of the rules that I have, which is not always so easy to do, is that every time we have even if it's a snack, right? Some snacks are not so bad. Every major meal, and it should have something from the produce family. Okay, so breakfast, have some fruit of some sort. Don't have fruit juice because that's high in sugar. Just have raw fruit. Usually I do frozen blueberries, which are easy and much cheaper. And that's also brain food, because that's after I have my little breakfast I'm going to write. I'm going to close out. I'm going to do little emails and a little bit of work and get everything set up for the day. And then I'm going to shut that side down. And I'm going to write for an hour. Mm-hmm. And I need my brain to be under my control. I need to have things under control. I need to have everything be on track. And then I say every meal what we do in our house is I like preparing my own food most of the time. So we have a big salad before every meal, and we eat that first. Because when you have that fiber and the greens inside of you, you're fuller, and you're also going to accept the food that's coming on top of it now. It's going to be easier to digest too. So you're not going to eat as much, but you're going to feel full, and you're going to feel satisfied, and you're going to feel energized from food that way. It's pretty easy stuff. And the other thing I have, this is a big one for me, is water, black coffee, whole organic milk, and not very much. If you want to have any kind of milk, whole organic milk, a small amount, if you need it every day. But water, black coffee, tea, or something like that. Anything else, all beverages, no sweet beverages, put that way.
So I need to throw the oat milk away that I just bought, Eric?
You can do that. That's also dietary too. So that's not a point. But for me, that's how I am. I'm very has to be the cleanest, best stuff. And that's all I will drink. Mostly I drink water and coffee. I drink coffee during the day. And but that way a lot of people get a lot of sneaky calories in from things that they drink.
I believe it.
I love it all. I love all that stuff. But I have to say to myself, I want to be a good example for you. Okay. And
yes, sir.
You can count on it's going to not kick your butt, but it's going to be on your side. I don't like the idea you're a coach and you got to hurt somebody. I like the idea that you go, okay, well, how do you feel about doing this? How do you feel today? Is this making a difference? Is this positive thing for you? If it's not working, there's another way.
Absolutely.
And also my whole thing is never give up, especially on yourself.
There you go. I love that. All right, Eric, I'm getting you out of here on this. What's one thing you want listeners to do right now? What's your biggest key to happiness?
Well, I really would like to have everyone reading me every week. Okay. I'd like to have people start to really and talk to me and then get back to me. And I have a new website. It's beautiful. It's www.thwarrior.com. So it stands for The Happiness Warrior, thwarrior.com. Get in there. I'm going to get some new pictures pretty soon. I did a new photo shoot with a really cool guy the other day. And I'm just trying to keep it. All my articles are on there too. So you can get into the issue wire file in there. And I'm just trying to build an audience that we can start saying, hey, do you want me to come and speak for your event? I'd love to go speak for your event and set something up and a speaker that you've never had before, like you've never had before, because I'm not going to do it in the scripted kind of way that is done.
There you go.
Okay? I'm going to mold this. Anything I do, I'm going to kind of mold it in the way I want it to be. Mm-hmm. So that everyone's having fun and learning and serious too. I think I'm always serious too. I'm a very serious person. I like to laugh, but I'm very serious too. So.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. So warrior.com. warrior.com. And you can also find Eric on Facebook, on Instagram. He has a ton of articles. He has a ton of videos. I promise you will not regret it. You will
Instagram, I have everything as well, Mick, and I have it's called The Happiness Warrior Official.
Yep.
So that's where all my videos and things are too. So
and that's what I follow, The Happiness Warrior Official on Instagram.
That's what I follow. I follow you too there. So
I promise you will not be disappointed. You can find daily inspiration, daily motivation. You will find, I promise you, something every day from Eric. And it'll put a smile on your face and a smile in your heart as well. And Eric, that's what I appreciate the most about you, brother.
Oh, I can't. I have so many things I appreciate about you as well, Mick. And also just thank you for having me on your show. This is your personal show, and it means a lot to me. It means more than anything to me. So
it means the world that you're here. It means the world that you're here. And we're definitely going to do this again. So I can see us having a happiness warrior series that we do on the podcast. I think we should do that for the people.
We'll be the happiness warrior duo. Okay. All right.
There you go. I love it.
Right.
From all the listeners out there, remember, your because is your superpower. Unleash it.
Thanks for listening to Mick Unplugged. We hope this episode helps you take the next step toward the extraordinary and launches a revolution in your life. Don't forget to rate and review the podcast, and be sure to check us out on YouTube at Mick Unplugged. Remember, stay empowered, stay inspired, and stay unplugged.